Okay, we're back. You look at this, everything's in, I got to move things around again. Welcome to Left Undone Incomplete Investigations. This today is kind of a crazy live stream day. We are going a little bit long today. This is part 2. Hey, Gilem, how are you? So I will see if everybody comes back. Let me turn this music. Hey, hello, Moonlight View. Okay, now what's going on with this thing? Okay, I think I'm working. How is the video now? Is it better? I reset everything. If you weren't here earlier, we had some technical difficulties with my video. Audio was working, video wasn't working. So, we have now officially rebooted everything, and hopefully we are back on track. So where we left off, if you haven't watched part 1 this morning, today, I am covering the Fauna Frey case. Also, I'm going to do a live stream on Monday, by the way. I have a new schedule at work. So Monday, I'm thinking about 3 p.m. Pacific time, 2 or 3 p.m. Pacific time. I'm going to cover a case that Lori Day has dug up. That's super interesting. I'm really invested now. I need to listen to a few more of the podcasts and stuff on it, and then we're going to go over it. I was going to go over it today, but I want to get a little more caught up on it. And she did a fantastic job looking for stuff. My mods have been amazing lately with their skills. Their skills. So back to Fauna Frey. Okay, let me get comfortable here because everything was messed up. But I think my video looks better, right, guys? So I rebooted my router. I rebooted my computer. The only thing is I think my earpods are almost dead, but that's not a big deal. So welcome back, everyone that came back. And then, of course, if you are the replay crew, please, thank you. And everybody try to like my videos from today if you really would appreciate it. Okay. I would appreciate it. You would appreciate it. All right, guys. So I wanted to go over the info from Hughes that he did some really awesome interviews on this case back when we looked into it in 2020. And excuse me. And he got some really good interviews. On part 1, we just listened to him called Gooseberries. Now, Gooseberries, I forgot about that. They have inside cameras, but apparently those weren't working because they switched over to a new system. How convenient. Everything was all so messed up because that would have been nice to see, like Gray points out, if it was actually Fauna that was buying the groceries, was it actually her? Was it actually her? Was her car actually there? Was it somebody else using her card, right? So that is that's a good point that he made on that one, and nobody knows. But the last time her card was used, she made the reservation at the We Ask You In, though. So was she alone? I still have so many questions on this case. I don't know why this case really, I don't know if it's because I lived in that town at the time. I don't know why, but this case really, really, I want some updated, like, what the heck? Where's Fauna? Where is she? Okay, so let me go back to my email so I can get these audios up. So we went over the timeline and everything on Fauna, what happened where, went to the Gooseberries, drove in the road, went to Super 8, did all that. And now I am going to play for you. And you guys, I know it's been long, so if you can't stay or you want to watch later, it's all great. I'm just going to keep going here, okay? But I mean, I know some people have super long lives, but I always feel like I feel bad when I go too long. So you guys have things to do. So whoops, nope, I'm not sending him an email. I gotta scroll down here because he sent me all these links with his interviews. And of course, I've tagged him in the description and everything. so that you guys can also go over here. I think he's going to cover it. He brought it up yesterday when he was going over the Delphi case. So I think Gray's going to cover this again too. So this is Sean. Now Gray calls the friend Sean. I actually was given Sean's number too, but I didn't reach out to him, and has a conversation with him. Sean is the one that got about $7,000 worth of this silver from Fauna. So Gray calls him and gets the whole scoop on what he thinks. But remember, this interview with Sean was before her car was found. So there's some things that he says in there that are like, oh, before her car was found. But then after her car was found and how it was found, it makes you think like, oh, you'll see what I mean. All right, let's go. Let me share. Hold on. Okay, here we go. And I'll stop if I have something to say. Otherwise, I'll let it play so you can get the whole interview. It's his interview. Why did I do that? I need to present. There we go. All right. All right. Ready, Fred? Ready, Freddies? Ready, everybody? Here we go. Tell me if you got audio or video issues.
Hello?
Hello, is this John?
Yeah.
Yeah, hey, my name is Gray Hughes of Hughes Investigates. I'm on, I have a YouTube channel with 50,000 subscribers, and I was wondering if I could ask you a couple of questions about Fauna Frey.
About Fauna, yeah.
Yeah, well, I guess I found out through another person that you're the one that she went to visit.
Yes. But tell me about Dallas.
Yeah, so you were good friends with Dallas growing up.
Yes, from like middle school.
Okay, and then when Fauna went over there, she just went there to drop you off some of his things.
Yes.
Do you
and tell me, I didn't even know. So she showed up. You know, I was kind of excited because that's, you know, Dallas would just show up. Dallas and Fauna would just show up kind of unannounced, and then take the dogs and take my brother, and they'd all go hiking. I can't hike anymore because I got a bad foot. But anyways, I got up out of my chair, went to go see, and then it was just Fauna. And, you know, I met her in the driveway, and as soon as I saw her, she was crying, starting to cry. And she told me that Dallas was gone. And I was shocked, like I was floored.
Yeah.
So anyways, then I invited her in. She brought chicken tenders for the dogs because that's something Dallas would always do. And she came inside, and we gave the dogs chicken tenders. And then she told me that he'd passed away. I wanted to know when the funeral was, and she said they'd already had the funeral. And she was pretty busted up, but she kept telling me over and over again that Dallas is in a better place. He's happy now. He's with Aura. You know, he no longer has any worries. That he's, you know, she was very
Welcome
positive.
back, Moonlight
I
View.
took it that she was being
Come join us in Discord.
positive not only for me but for herself. That she was telling, you know, and then she wanted to, you know, look up somebody else. So I typed it in the computer. I was looking for a phone book because we don't have phone books anymore. So she told me to type in Dex. So I typed in Dex, and I went to the Dex thing and typed in the guy's name. And she said, that's it. And so I gave her that address, wrote it down. I had a phone number, so I wrote the phone number down. She told me she didn't need the phone number because she didn't have a phone. And then I walked her back out to the car, and she handed me a little box of stuff that she said, I think Dallas would have wanted you to have this. And then she said that she was going to go try to let the next.
Okay, so she handed him the boxes. That's the silver coins. We know now that that's the silver coins.
Guy know that Dallas passed, and it was kind of like I got the impression she was going to let people know. She wanted to let people know in person, because I asked why she didn't call or why anybody didn't call, and she said that.
You still there? Oh, oops.
Almost a month later, I was walking into the store and I saw her poster.
Can you repeat that last part? For some reason, it just sort of went dead. But then,
Oh,
I
said,
yeah.
About a month passed, and then I walked into the store and there was a poster of her missing, and so I immediately came home and called John, and that's how, it'd been almost a month when I found out.
Yeah. So the stuff that you were given, was that stuff that he had in a will or something, or just something she thought maybe you'd like it? Or
Just personal stuff. Yeah, it was nothing. I doubt he had a will of any kind. I can't see him doing that.
yeah, somebody mentioned like coins or something that you might like.
Yeah, there was silver in there.
Yeah. Let's see what else. So, I mean, what do you think that did she seem like she was in a mood where she would self-harm herself, or
Not at all. That's the one thing I keep saying. She wasn't at all in the state of mind that she was going to hurt herself. And I didn't get that impression at all. I got the impression that she was heartbroken, and she's that family's had a lot of suffering over the years.
Yeah.
And one of the things that happened is when I asked, how John was doing. I asked her, and that was the only time she changed from being sad. She got real mad, and she said, "Well, he's the reason Dallas is dead." And she said, and I said, "What do you mean?" And she said, "Well, it was all the stress that he put on Dallas. Dallas' poor heart finally gave out." And she was firmly believed that Dallas passed away so young because of her father. So,
weird.
When I first heard about it, heard that she was missing, my first thought was that she had a conversation with her dad, and he probably told her, time to get back on the horse. We got to finish this house, get it ready. He's very practical that way. So I figured she probably just, left, went hiking, went somewhere. I still feel that way. I've got Dallas, and another friend of our, Tom. He lives up in Portland. He's down there. This is the second time he's come down here, and we, both of us have that same feeling that she's taken off somewhere, and she never had a digital footprint whatsoever. Wasn't on Facebook. Wasn't even Dallas. The only thing he used his computer for was to look up Craigslist and just write me and Tom emails. That was pretty much it. They were never, into tech.
Yeah.
So, that's why Tom and I were talking about it today. Everybody keeps asking why she didn't take her new car. She took the older Jeep. Well, the new car is going to have all that tracking information, and the older Jeep, they're everywhere. You can't spit without hitting one. And she could drive that. It was in good working order. So, and she had access to funds. If she wanted to disappear, she knows that people would be looking at her, at her credit cards and stuff like that. So,
and she used burner phones sometimes too, I guess.
All the time. The whole family does.
But why is that?
I know why Dallas did it. Dallas did it because he didn't like big government. He thought that having a burner phone was not only more practical, because they didn't use their phones for internet or anything. They used their phones for phones, and he could buy minutes for them, and to him it was a little bit cheaper. But it was also the idea that his name's not associated with that phone. Even when he would call, my caller ID would pick up. It was like some sort of steel fabrication company was what came up on my caller ID. You know, so. But that's like with the silver. You know, we stack silver. I do the same thing. Dallas and I started around the same time of buying junk silver coins or buying silver bullion, stuff like that.
Yeah, like gold. People buy gold when you think the.
Well, and that's that was common practice even back in high school. When his dad would sell a house or something, he would store his funds in gold bars. The little tiny ones. They weren't like Raiders of the Lost Ark or anything, but he would. It was a secure way to store your money, and it still is. We always look at if hyperinflation happens or something like that, we've got money still.
Well, gold's pretty high right now. That's for sure.
Oh, it's huge. Same thing with silver.
Yeah.
I mean, silver. That's the other thing is that she gave me some, and she still had some. She could go into any pawn shop or any place and just change that in.
So this actually was out there. Sean's talking to Gray about the silver coins. And I think that's when the friends called him or told him to take that video down. So this isn't really that new. But that was when they were trying to control everything, All right. Yes, giving away possessions. You're right. That is actually, Percy, stop it. That is actually a sign of suicide. And again, her sister committed suicide, shot herself, and Fauna found her sister. Was that 2006, something like that? And then now her brother's dead. So she might have been one of those people that are lost without having any siblings. Her mom died. Her dog had died recently. There's a lot. This could go so many ways, right? Okay, back to the interview with Gray. Oh, this is what I think did I pause? Play? Why are you now? Did I really screw that up again? Audio's on, right? Oh my God, Kathy. I'm going to refresh. I'm about 8 minutes, right? Let's refresh this page.
Got.
Yeah, like gold. People buy gold when you think the.
Well, and that's that was common practice even back in high school. When his dad would sell a house or something, he would store his funds in gold
bars. And the coins are gone.
The little
you don't
tiny
suicide
like
with the coins, right?
Lost Ark or anything.
And she didn't give them all away, as far as we
He
know.
would. It was a secure way to store your money.
And
it still is.
That was found on the post.
We always look at if hyperinflation happens or something like that, we've got money still.
Well, gold's pretty high right now. That's for sure.
Oh, it's huge. Same thing with silver.
Yeah.
I mean, silver. That's the other thing is that she gave me some, and she still had some. She could go into any pawn shop.
Oh boy. Hold on. How long ago did it disappear? Hold on. Well, try again. How many technical difficulties can I have in one day? So crazy. Hold on. All right. I'll just reopen this. I don't know how many minutes we're in there. All right. Let me go. I'll try again. I'm just going to leave it alone. It's working. You hear? No sound again the whole time? What the hell, man? Also share audio. Yes. All right. Let me know. One more time here. It's playing now. You hear it? It's playing. I hear it. You don't hear it? You don't hear it? You hear me? Do you hear me? Can you hear me? You don't hear me either. You don't hear me. You don't hear it. Okay. Mm. Microphone should be fine. My earpods are playing the audio, but I can switch to my MacBook speakers. Okay, can you hear me? You can hear me now. Okay. So you couldn't hear me either because I didn't have it muted. So something was going on. Let's try again. Tell me if you can hear this. I'm going to stop and then start it again. We are not happy with technology today. It is not our friend. Technology. Now it just paused itself. Okay. Hold on. I think I need to restart it completely. Yeah, you're going to get some ads because it's set that way, but everybody gets them at different times and they shouldn't be a lot. They should just be some quick ads that pop up during the live stream and that you can skip. Let's see. All right. Manscape your bills. I'm going to close it and open it. And then we'll just share again. Going this rate, we're never going to hear this whole thing, huh? I'm going to close some of these other things too. All right, let me share. Tell me, send out the red flags if it's working or not working. I'm going to do it right now. I'm hitting play right now. Oh, hold on. You want to fast forward? We don't want to listen over.
Hello. That she took with her, and that'd be, that's a good chunk of cash. I mean, you could pay in cash for a little apartment in Montana. You could live there a long time on a little bit of money.
Yeah, that's true. Hey, why do you think she? Why do you think she rented the that one hotel but never went to?
Yeah, this is what Tom and I think is. She didn't like the hotel, so she was going to go to stay at the other one, and then she called her dad. And when she called her dad suggested that she go someplace else. But we don't know what happened in that conversation. We kind of think John said something that pushed her just too far, where she got pissed. And while she's driving around stewing about it, trying to find, the Randy guy and going out to Cave Junction and, driving around, decided to call the inn and get a room at the inn, and then got to Rogue River, took some money out, and decided to leave. Just decided, you know what, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to keep doing this. And, it's right on the state line. She could be in California in, under an hour, and then Nevada in about 3 hours. So if you wanted to leave, and when they started doing all the searches, they've only been really searching Oregon. It's like, well, why? We're a border state. We're like right on the border. Why didn't you ask those same questions about the California pawn shop? See if her name rings a bell down there. Why don't you ask about Nevada? Nevada's notorious for pawn shops. You could get into Reno and she could cash all that silver out, go to a couple pawn shops, and then take off with who knows where.
Do pawn shops pay you the going rate, or just a little bit off of that, so they make money? Obviously,
the pawn shops. So there's you got the spot price. A pawn shop will pay less than spot. But if you go to like a coin place, every coin has a premium on it. So it doesn't matter what the price is, they make the price off the premium of the coin. So like a American Buffalo, every coin that you buy, you're giving the guy $1.18 extra or $1.50 extra, whatever the premium is at that time. If it's like an American Eagle, it's like a $9 premium per coin. So if you were to buy the, if it was $14 an ounce and you bought one of those coins, you'd be paying the 14 plus the 9 to get that for your silver.
I see.
When you go to sell it at a pawn shop, they don't give you that premium back. If you go sell it at a coin shop, you'll get most of your premium back.
Yeah, because it seems like you'd lose a lot of, if you bought.
Yeah.
You have
to go to a coin shop,
right?
Or precious metals, somebody that deals with precious metals, because they will buy and sell silver with the premium on there. So and depending on what you buy, like in Oregon, anything that's not actual legal currency, or came off of actually is printed for a spent amount, they charge a tax on it now. So that's why the premium is so much higher on American Eagle, is because there's no tax on it, and you can, you save your wealth, and that's what the idea is. You pay, $14 an ounce, and then you sit on it, and you can get that back if you go through like a private sale. You can, if you want to wait. If you don't want to wait, you make an appointment with a coin shop. You take it in there, and you'll get spot price, plus you'll get some premium on it. Not the same amount of premium that you paid for it, because he's going to take it and he's going to sell it for whatever spot price is, but he makes his money on the premium. So that's where they, the coin dealer. So it doesn't matter if it's, what the price is. They can still function because they're not holding the silver for the silver value. They're holding the silver to sell it for the premium. That's the way their business operates.
I see. So do you think that if she went out on her own, do you think she could easily handle herself and be like, did she have any weapons or anything like that? Or
She was never into any kind of weapons. So in fact, she was opposed to firearms, after Aura. And, but she was a cautious.
Laura would be the sister that committed suicide.
So I can't see her, she used a cell phone, or she's used somebody's phone to make a phone call. And we don't know who that phone number is because she didn't use the hotel phone to make the phone call to the inn. She used a different phone, which I think she just went to Walmart and bought a burner phone with cash, $20 to $40 get you a phone with minutes on it, and then made the call. So she would be more than capable to go, and she's a smart girl, but she was also an outdoors, she wasn't shy about animals and nature and everything else.
But she knows what to do to go. I mean, like she knows how to camp and maybe survive out there for a while.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now she wouldn't go out, like real roughing it. She would camp with a little bit more necessities, I guess is the best way to put it. She'd go near some water, and she'd want to have the ability to clean and everything. Her brother Dallas, he would live in the back of his truck indefinitely and set up an outside shower, and he didn't care. But she was a little bit more. She knows how to do it, but there again, she'd need some finances. I would say more than likely she went someplace, looked on Craigslist or looked at the the Little Nickel or the classified ads and found a room to rent or something like that she could pay cash for in someplace else. And there's no trail of that to just go and decompress and just disappear.
Do you feel like she's still out there alive?
That's what I feel. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I feel that I feel that whatever conversation she had with her dad that night at the hotel, we've never heard the whole story. We've only heard part of it because, even trying to talk to John, and I've known John, as long as I've known Dallas, and he was always hard on those kids. Dallas taking the brunt of it. And that's where I tried to explain to John, like, look, she was pissed at you. And he's like, really? Why was she upset? We were having fun. Things were going good. And telling him, like, flat out, and I don't know how to sugarcoat it. It's literally, she thinks that you're the reason, her exact words is that you killed Dallas. You were the one. And I could see how upset she was at you in her eyes. And then we got back onto, I didn't press it because I didn't want to upset her. We got back into talking about Dallas, talking about some good times. And they were building that spec house. And at the end of the summer, he's supposed to come down and stay with me throughout the winter time this year. And, it busts me up. I still can't fathom the idea that he's gone. And then now with Fauna on top of it, it's, like me and Tom are both having a hard time coping with it. We're both coping with it in our own ways.
Who's Tom?
Tom's the other best friend. Tom lived with Fauna for a little bit up in Portland.
Okay.
He's a friend of the family. He's known Dallas even longer. Dallas and Fauna. He's known them since they were tiny.
So it's interesting. Yeah. So she went down to California or something like that. And then she's using a car that can't be tracked and burner phones, but she must have had enough money. Like maybe she kept some of those coins or whatever.
And then there's all sorts of other things. Dallas used to keep an ammo can full of cash. A lot. I mean, I'm not talking about $1 bills. It was cash. Like, he had a lot of money that he would have in cash. And almost everything he did, he paid for cash, except for the business. The business, he did it all through checks and banking. But everything else was always cash.
Well, if that's what she was using, why did she withdraw money from that one bank?
Yeah, that's what I don't know either. Unless she was just drawing some money out right there to, to give one more location of this is where I am. And I don't know.
Yeah,
it's hard to tell. Or if she just needed, if she wanted to get $200 out so she could get out of the state,
right,
and go someplace else where she could start, selling some of that silver.
that makes sense. Yeah, like in that town, there wasn't any place to, maybe there, I don't know if there's a pawn shop there or whatever, but anyway, she just said, okay, I need 200 to get me somewhere, then I can start using my other resources.
Yep. Yeah, because one of those rolls, 20 coins right now, will fetch about $500, and you could take that into any pawn shop or coin shop and get, $450 to $500. They'll write down your name and you sign it, but that's it. Unless you're doing a substantial amount, there's no record of it. So it has to be over $10,000. If you're doing over $10,000, you have to notify the IRS and do some other stuff. But
did Fauna mention the hitchhiker to you at all that she picked up?
No. Apparently that happened after she left here.
Yeah.
I didn't find out about the hitchhiker till later on, and I went looking for her. John found her a couple times, but I saw that she got picked up and was in jail, I don't know, a week and a half ago, for meth, which is common around here.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think? There's any kind of could there be an association with her being missing to her? Do you have a feeling of that one way or the other?
I don't feel that way. Most of the tweakers around here, they're thieves, but they're not. They don't want to do anything that's really going to harm people, unless that's their intent to begin with. But the drugs, they have to steal to support their habit, and they're willing to live in absolute dismal conditions, just so they can, feed the meth or the heroin.
Right. Yeah, but a lot of times to feed that habit, they'll do crazy things too.
Yeah, around here, like we've had a couple, and this is the thing, is we had a guy go missing, I guess almost 2 years ago now. And he was on the phone with somebody else. He was a illegal pot farmer. Somebody was coming and trying to steal his pot. He'd sold a whole bunch. We know locally, we know that he had around $40,000 on him. That's a huge chunk of cash. And so it's such a small community. Everybody kind of knows everybody's business. They were trying to steal from him. He went out to go deal with them, and he vanished. He was gone. And at that time, we had a guy by the name of Jason Taylor and another guy by Michael Brendan that were out here, and they were the worst of the worst. And they would literally steal everything. They ripped the ATM out of the store through a chain around it, and they still haven't caught Jason Taylor. But one of the things, they'll do all that stealing and they'll go really extreme. Something happened to that poor old guy, because they searched for him. 3 days later, on a road they'd already searched, which is a back road that the tweakers use to get back and forth between this town and the next town up north without having to go on the county roads. They found that truck with the keys and ignition completely clean. Nobody, not even the tweakers, would touch that truck, and they'll steal anything. They'll jump in a car and take off with the car. At least the thieves will. So something happened to that guy, and they will do everything they can to not be connected to it.
Wow.
Listen to this.
We would have found her Jeep, is what I'm saying. Is if if they did something to her, none of them would have been caught with that Jeep, and they would have shared that Jeep, don't get caught with that Jeep because that's connected to somebody.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
they want that Jeep found, and without them being connected to it.
So basically, your overall feeling here is that Fauna, was upset about her brother's death and blamed her father, and there was probably perhaps a phone call that was made that kind of sent her over the edge, and then so she passed up on staying overnight at that one inn that she got a room after that call, maybe stayed in town just for a little bit longer, got some money, because she was in the town, it sounds like, for a few hours, maybe 5 or 6 hours.
There's some other details that they haven't shared that I've gotten from John, so I don't know what I can say on that. But she was there. We know she was there for the whole day, back and forth. We know she went all the way out to try to find Randy and came back. We just do not know which she did first. If she went towards the motel or if she went towards Cave Junction.
Well, she went to, she was in a bank in Rogue River, right? Then she went but she was at Gooseberry's later.
In Grants Pass. And apparently there was another purchase that was made in Cave Junction that same day. That's 40 miles from the hotel to Cave Junction, or about 40 minutes.
Do you know what time that was?
The opposite direction. So she would have to go 40 minutes out there, then 40 minutes back, then another 20 minutes to Rogue River. That's a sizable chunk of time. And if she's driving around trying to find people, how much does she, I doubt highly she just drove out there and turned around and drove back.
Yeah, well, let me ask you something. What time was the purchase at Cave Junction?
We don't have any of the details. I've never heard the details. I just found out about it from John. I don't know, last time my buddy Tom was here, and we ran into John. We were out trying to search for Fauna, and we ran into John during that search. And
that was on the 29th, though, right? The 29th, she was in Cave Junction? The same day that she was supposed to. Well, see, that's interesting. Go ahead.
She stopped by my house. Then apparently she went, did the two shopping things in Grants Pass at like Big Five and Fred Meyer, and then went back to the hotel. Okay. And she got up the next day at the hotel. That's where those other purchases came from.
Right.
So so she left. I don't know what time she left the motel, but they have that timestamp somewhere.
Yeah. Well, she left She left the Super 8 at between 8:30 and 9 on the 29th.
Yep.
On the 29th, but then what's weird is there's a 2-hour gap, and then she's over at the Umpqua Bank, and then there's a 4-hour gap before Gooseberry's, yeah. And then I had a hard time saying that one. But then Cave Junction was that same day, though, right?
Yeah.
After she checked out. So what's interesting is that sort of matches, if that's after 3:39, because Gooseberry's was 3:39, she could have very well been going to California, because that's right on the way.
Yeah.
And
that's the gateway to California. That's also how you get to the coast. That was the other thing. It was hot during that time. If she's looking to camp, she's a couple hours away from a lot of really nice coastal spots that are cooler. So it's and if she wanted to go to California, I don't know who she might have had friends with, that she hadn't, hadn't shared with us.
Yeah. Well, it's only about a 30-mile drive to Cave Junction from Grants Pass, maybe 35. But I mean, she could have gone there and back, and that'd be an hour. And maybe that explains the 11:45 to 3:39. So maybe she went back and was using Grants Pass as a base, but then she never went to that inn. It's pretty confusing stuff.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't make any sense. And you answered a piece of the puzzle. Every time we've asked John, he couldn't remember where her last purchase was. And if her last purchase was in Cave Junction, then that's where you'd need to start the search, because that would be the last place. And it's upsetting that it's taken this long to get to this point, because when you're a couple months out, going to Cave Junction has a community watch program in it, and they have public funded cameras that watch the whole downtown. You could pull that data and look at the vehicles and get a better idea.
But she made a purchase in Cave Junction.
Yes.
Like a grocery store or something like that?
I don't know. John just said she bought something there.
Well, it's interesting because it really isn't. It's a really tiny town. I guess you could call every single one of the. Know, there's like 8 of them.
That's where we grew up.
Yeah. I'd love to know the time of that purchase. They must have that.
That's me and Tom have been asking for this for a while now, and for some reason John just never can remember or doesn't know, or just I don't know.
Well, that's because if it's in between, really what you want to know is where was the last purchase, like you were saying, what time was it? Because if Cave Junction was between the bank and Gooseberries, then it's almost irrelevant in a way, but I mean, not really. I mean, she went there and did something. We don't know why she was there. Maybe
in Cave Junction?
Yeah.
She was looking for Randy.
Oh, yeah, that's where Randy was? Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
We later found out Randy's actual address. And when you look at any other search engine besides Dex, it comes up with his current address. So he was really easy to find. And that was one of the other thoughts, is maybe she went and asked somebody else to look up and got his actual address. But going out and talking to Randy, he says he hasn't seen her. And Tom said that Randy's kind of like Joe Dirt. He's not very bright. He's very hillbilly and very into cars. And if Fauna came to him and said, "Look, I just want to disappear," blah, 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 Randy'd be the guy who'd be like, "Yeah, sure. I've got a friend that's got a camper. You can go stay over there. We'll throw a tarp over the Jeep." And he wouldn't tell a soul. Around here, they don't, these people don't trust cops. So it's hard to get any solid information unless you got people that you know. But that is a possibility, is that Randy put her up someplace.
Yeah. Well, he'd be the one that you want to talk to if that's the last known purchase is actually in Cave Junction, then Randy would be the one that people would want to talk to next.
Yes. And the sheriff's talked to him, John's talked to him a few times, a bunch of us talked to him. And he says he's clueless about it, but there again, it's hard to tell.
Did she see him? Did she actually find him?
No. He said that she didn't.
He said that she.
So we basically just have to go off that.
Yeah, it's true. Be interesting if there's surveillance in the town that would show her Jeep going there, but
that's what. Yeah. And I think O'Brien has surveillance in there too. You could, but there again, it's the time frame. I don't know why the sheriff hasn't pulled that stuff. I don't know how long they keep their data for. If it's only for 10 days or something, it's going to be gone.
What's O'Brien? Is that a town?
O'Brien's in that town right past Cave Junction. It's another little town.
I see it.
Going towards the coast.
Yeah.
And they had a bad run with the tweakers stealing and stuff like that. So they formed their own little neighborhood watch type posse where they were driving around with rotating lights and trucks with guys with shotguns in the back. And they put some cameras up too. But there'd be cameras on that stretch of highway that could have seen if she was heading towards the coast. Because you'd have the date, and if they had the date and a rough estimate timestamp, you can just watch through the camera footage,
Well, I guess one thing that's a little bit frustrating is how long it took to get going on this. So a lot of those camera shots and footage are actually been written over at this point.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's the frustrating part. Is like I said, I don't know why they didn't move faster on it.
It's like
but then again, if she wanted to disappear, there's nothing against the law of doing that. That's
true. Has there been anybody searching that whole town?
We've been all over the back roads. I know some people went out and were searching all around in Cave Junction.
Yeah.
But it's it's a weird little town. It was a real nice town. Like I said, we all grew up there, and then when the timber industry died, it just left everybody out of work, and it turned into a thieves haven. It was retirees from California or drugs.
Okay.
That's pretty much all that you get there now.
Yeah. Well, listen,
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Well, I mean, I feel bad that you lost your friend. I didn't know that, what the situation was there. I didn't realize that he was stressed out and,
yeah.
so
Yeah, he had medical issues over the amount of stress that he went through.
wow.
He couldn't work for like almost a year and a half because of mild fascia fibrosis. Like his whole body turned into like a Charlie horse.
Oh, really? Wow. Oh, geez.
So he had to work out knots. He lived with me for about a year, and I'd work on him every night because he was running out of money. He couldn't afford to pay all these specialists, and so you'd have to take like his calf would be like a rock, and you'd have to take your thumb and move around in the muscle until you felt kind of like finding a marble in the flesh, and you just hold your finger down on that marble, and then all of a sudden his entire calf would turn to like a normal calf, be all soft and gushy.
Oh, really? Wow. Like a cramp,
so
like a cramp in there, right?
Yeah, that's exactly. He was in excruciating pain. It's just like when you wake up in the morning, you stretch your leg, and you get Charlie horse,
Oh,
and you
yeah.
squirm back and forth in the bed. He had that all over his body.
Jesus.
And it took a couple years of working, and he went to specialists, and he spent tons of everything he had trying to get his body back together. And like I said, I would every night we'd sit there and work on him, like work on his calves, work on his thighs, work on his stomach. It was rough, but he's like a brother to me, so I'll do anything to help him out. And he got better. If you can keep repeating the process and keep, that's the whole key, is you have to keep loosening those muscles until the muscles just stay naturally loose. And he finally made it through that, but that whole time he was stressing, and it was John was not easy to be. He some people are built to be parents and some people aren't. Yeah. John just was, he was very, what John valued was being able to make money and work ethic, and that's what he taught the kids, and that everything was at the level of perfection. It was John's way kind of thing.
Yeah.
So.
Well, look, I appreciate you taking the time. Like a lot of times, I record these so that I can go back and listen to them again. Is it something I could play to people, or like?
I don't care. It's there's nothing to hide. If it'll help find Fauna.
It seemed like it was just helpful information trying to. Yeah. So I think you added some really good insight into her, and like maybe where she may have headed, that kind of thing. Is there any last thing that you might want to throw in there about her? Or
I really don't know. It's like I said, it's the second time my buddy Tom's come down. We haven't seen each other in 8 or 9 years until this happened. That brought us back together. The only other thing I could think of is every 4th of July, we used to try to get together and go to the coast and light fire. Me and Dallas and Tom would, and we'd get in trouble when we were kids. Anyways, we were talking about getting together for the 4th of July this year because the new Top Gun movie was out, and Dallas wrote us an email saying, "Let's get together for 4th of July. We'll buy fireworks. We'll go to the coast. We'll go over to Brookings, light off our fireworks, and relive memories." And then we didn't hear back from him for a while, which isn't uncommon with Dallas. That was the other thing I was thinking. It was right around 4th of July when she went missing. Maybe she knew that we were going to go. We were hoping to go to the coast and light off fireworks. She might have gone to the coast just to be there because that's, where where Dallas would have wanted to be, and it's cooler and just decompress some. And like I said, I think she just, I wish we knew what her last phone call was with John. I wish we knew everything about it. I personally feel that we don't have the whole story of what that entailed, or that John didn't even realize that what he said had upset her.
Yeah.
And
well, the part that I
I
heard the interview, did you watch the interview? And there was he did an interview on a YouTube channel, and he was saying that he said to go to a cabin. Hey, go get a cabin. See, that part, I just, when I heard that, I was like, that seems kind of weird.
You're welcome.
I mean, in a way, like go to a cabin. I mean, wouldn't you, if she was really depressed about something, say, hey, come back home, we'll go do.
Yeah, well, I have an idea on that last phone call. He said, go take, you did your stupid journey. You didn't let people know. That's not affecting us. They can know anytime. They can't change that. Why don't you go to, go get this, whatever your mission is done, and then go ahead and get back here, because we've got, he's very, very to the point of that house. The spec house is always the priority when they're building one. So it's whatever is going to stop that spec house. It has to be done before the end of summer, because they got to get the sale in before winter hits. And that's the whole goal. And if they're going to miss that deadline, that's going to be a problem. And so that's what I think he told her, is like, hey, okay, get this shit out of your system and get back here. We've got work to do. I need your help finishing this off. And she took it the wrong way of like, look, I collapsed. I collapsed in my driveway when I heard about Dallas. It's affected me like that. I can't imagine how it's affected her. And if I got a phone call told that, just get over it and get going, I'd be very much, go fuck yourself. I'm out of here. And she was so mad. Like, literally, you could see the rage in her eyes when I asked about John. I said, how's John doing? How's John dealing with all this? And she just, like a light switch, he's the reason Dallas is dead. I said, what? Because I thought maybe something else had happened. And because I didn't know about the heart attack at that point. I just know he'd passed, and she hadn't given a lot of details. And she said it was all the stress that he put on all of them, all the kids, but especially Dallas. Dallas was the boy. He took it. He was the one that was going to go out and build houses with him. And
does Fauna? Does she have any kids at all? Or?
No.
And she's not married. She was never married or anything like that.
No. She had some boyfriends when she was younger, but after Aura, everything changed with the whole family. With her and Dallas, they just.
That's the sister.
Fauna took it really bad, and and Dallas was just destroyed over it. And it was this last Christmas. Dallas showed up. Dallas and Fauna both showed up, and they always spoiled the dogs. So he brought steaks and barbecued steaks for the dogs. And was just Merry Christmas and stuff. And I remember at that moment, he seemed the happiest I've ever seen him in his entire life. Like, not just a happy moment, but he was just starting to become happy. And, we talked about, we're getting older. We had all these things we wanted to do when we were younger. We need to stop doing that. We need to stop talking about it and actually get around to doing it. And that's where our plans were coming together of the spec house. He's finished the spec house all winter here. I went out and bought a Bronco sight unseen, because we were going to fix up. We wanted something to fix up. And, my buddy Tom, he went out and bought a Jeep and has been tooling up his Jeep, because we were all going to fix up our 4x4s and, go go on some of these adventures we were talking about.
Oh,
And,
maybe that's what Fauna went and did. What's a spec
Yeah.
house? What's a spec house?
A spec house is where they go, they invest all the money into it, or they get a bank loan out of it. They build a house with the intent that as soon as the house is done, they immediately turn around and put it up on the market and sell it. And then they make a profit off of whatever the, whatever the sell price is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
okay.
And then, and that's one of the other things is that spec house is all in Fauna's name. Like, I don't even know what John can do with it at this point, which I'm sure is not. John had them, the kids, do everything. John lost his license a while back. There was some dispute, so Dallas had to get a contractor's license, and technically, John was working for Dallas.
Do you know where, like, her favorite place is? If she was gonna, like,
it's hard to say. With her, she had life. Any place outside, peaceful, away from people. That's she liked nature. She liked being out.
Yeah, but she didn't have a place that she would, like, a go-to place.
No, not that I know of. Like, same thing with Dallas. Dallas, it was never about one particular place. It was about what's around the next turn and what's down the next road and what's, it was always someplace new. He'd find a spot and he'd go out and hike it. But it wasn't, he's going to keep going to the one spot. He would go and find new adventures all the time.
Yeah.
And that's what he was doing when he'd come down here. He'd take him and Fauna would show up, and they'd take Gary and take Phoenix, and he'd have found some hiking trail that he wanted to go see. He wanted to hike up King Mountain, 3-mile hike. It's like almost straight up the hill. And he always wanted to go and find someplace, and every time he'd come down, he'd have a new spot that he wanted to go try to find.
Oh, well, it sounds like he was adventurous when he could be, and then you guys were all going to start doing that, and then he passed away. Kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Let's see. What else is there? How did the younger sister pass away, her sister? And, like, wasn't it 2000? Oh, really? Jeez.
Shot herself in the chest.
Did they know why she did that, or did she have a reason?
Speculation. There again, Dallas felt that John's stress did it. Yeah, it was
stress.
After they lost their mother, like that was a huge blow for the kids. And then Aura was. That's why the two things. I don't think Fauna would harm herself, and part of that's why she doesn't like firearms.
Yeah,
because of what happened with Aura.
Well, that's understandable. Yeah. Yeah. Well, listen, I appreciate you taking the time. Can I call you back if there's some other information later that?
Yeah, any time. And I don't know if you want to talk to Tom or have any questions for him, but
yeah, I wouldn't mind talking to him.
Yeah. Would you like to talk to him?
Is he there right there now, or?
Yeah. He's here till Wednesday. So.
Oh, okay.
Here, I'll put him on the phone. Here you go.
Okay.
Hello?
Hey, yeah, my name is Gray Hughes. I'm Gray Hughes Investigates, my YouTube channel, but I've got like 50,000 subscribers, and I actually live in Oregon, and I hadn't even heard of this case because I do national ones, and it came across, and now I'm just looking into it myself. So I was
great.
So I was wondering what you could add, like what kind of information do you have on what's going on here with Fauna?
Well, actually, I have the exact same information as Sean. So we've shared everything we know. I mean, I live in Portland, so I don't have a direct connection.
Yeah, I live in Portland too. So you were good friends with Dallas?
Yeah, yes, yeah. Gosh, we're second grade. We're friends, so it's been 40 years.
And did she drop off Fauna some items for you from him too?
No, I didn't find out about this until well after the fact, because Sean didn't know he didn't have my email, or they actually finally found it due to the email that Dallas had sent regarding getting together 4th of July.
Oh yeah, okay.
So he was able to find that, and I didn't find out about it until end of July, I think it was.
So you hadn't seen him for a while, but you guys were about to sort of rekindle the past, kind of get back together.
Yeah. Well, I emailed quite often with Dallas. I mean, I didn't come down and see him very often, but we communicated on a pretty regular basis.
Okay. So what is it? Does it feel like the police department is doing all they can to help out here? Or?
I would say no. I don't. It doesn't feel like that to me, just because there's information that we've gotten that Sean shared with you about, like other purchases he made and things like that really aren't on the timeline. And
yeah,
I don't know why that's not being looked at.
Well, there was a couple other things that weren't on the timeline. Somebody just gave them to me. It was the Rogue River bank withdrawal, and then gooseberries, I guess, a store.
Yeah, it's a grocery store, I think.
Yeah, in Grants Pass. So I'm not sure why that's such a big deal not to have that in the timeline, because the more stuff you put in the timeline, people go, oh yeah, well yeah, I remember somebody there. I mean, that's just something that should be out there. It doesn't affect anything.
Exactly, and it also, if her last purchase was made in Cave Junction, then that should be the direction that people should be looking to, I would think, rather than focusing on Grants Pass area.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, Cave Junction, if there was a purchase, let's say at 4:30, because I guess 3:39 was gooseberries, well then, and then she never went back to that inn, well then she probably just kept going south or is in that general area, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Just headed on out. I mean, the California border's right there.
Yeah.
So, it's very, very easy to go there. Very, very easy to go anywhere from there. So.
Okay. All right. Well, is there anything else that you might? I know he pretty much said everything that you might have said, but is there anything that you can think of?
No. I think Sean pretty much covered everything that I know. So I get, other than most of the information I get has been through Sean, with the exception of when we ran into John when we were out looking, and then we got some more information from him, and that was about some of the other purchases and things like that. And I don't know. There's also the question of when she made the reservations for the hotel she showed up at, or didn't go to. She made the reservations. We don't know where she made that call from, and that seems kind of important to me also.
Yeah, like where. That's what I wanted to know too. Like, where was her phone? Where did it ping when she made the reservation?
Well, she didn't have a phone.
Right. Yes. And it could have been a burner phone, right?
It could have been a burner. It could have been, it could have been somebody that she was visiting. We don't know.
Yeah, and you'd think that would show up on at least the inn's records, a number that came in, or do burner phones not even leave a number? I don't know how that works.
No, I think they're just like a regular phone, and they have, they're not registered basically, and you just pay for minutes as you go.
So there should be a phone number though attached to it, though, right? Like if you have caller ID, it comes in. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. So there would be a number attached to that, and it'd be interesting to know where that call was made from. So.
Yeah, like what phone that came from. Yeah, and it's really, I mean, it's amazing. It almost seems like with the burner phones, her leaving her actual cell phone, if she had one, and her laptop at home, that she didn't really want to be located at all.
Exactly, and I don't remember if Sean mentioned it or not, but when we were talking to John, he mentioned that there was a series of books they were just reading about a woman who goes on the run and goes off the grid.
Oh, really?
That was.
Jeez. No, I didn't hear that. Yeah.
Hey, Sean, who's that author? Who's the author of the book she was reading? Dean Koontz.
Okay, Dean Koontz. And
yeah, I guess it's a 3-book series, and they've been passing it between the 3 of them, Dallas, John, and Fauna, and they were reading that. So, and from what I've read of Koontz's work in the past, he has some pretty good information. So, she might be looking at a primer right there.
Wow. I mean, that is a little bit interesting right there. I mean, almost like she read the books, did a lot of the stuff in preparation, didn't have anything that could be tracked GPS wise, and then just takes off maybe, right? I mean,
exactly. That's kind of what it feels like to me that she's done, is that she basically had enough and left. So,
I mean, that would be the best scenario, actually.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right.
But the thing that's curious is her car, not finding her car. That's leads to me, makes me think that she's taken it somewhere also. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think if her car's in California, nobody's looking for it there.
Exactly. Yeah.
And California was like what, 10 miles from that Cave Junction?
10, 20 miles. Yeah, I mean it's right there. So, and you're out of the state. So.
That's crazy. Well, listen, I appreciate you guys taking the time to talk to me, and I'm sorry that you lost your friend, and now you've lost another friend. For now, we don't know where she is. Hopefully, she's just doing what those books were telling her to do. Right?
Exactly. Yeah, that's kind of what I kind of just feel like. That she, like I said, that she probably had a conversation with John, and it probably upset her, and she probably stewed on it over the course of the next day, and then decided that she had enough, and she's going.
Yeah. Well, let's hope that's the case. All right. So anyways, say thanks to Sean for me, and I appreciate you guys taking the time. All right.
Nope, you're welcome. You're welcome. Any help is definitely welcome.
Okay.
So.
Well, I might call you guys back in the future at some point, but I appreciate it very much.
Okay, great. Sounds good.
All right, thank you.
All right, thanks.
Okay, a couple of things. Percy, sorry, he's loud. Yes, this interview is long before the sheriff's, so that I am going to play just a tiny clip of that podcast, but you guys should go listen to it. It's 2 parts so far. It's that Newsweek podcast, but there was something on there that he brings up the book and the name of the book that they're talking about right there. And also a couple things that I just found. Let me find this on my phone that I had screenshot from back then. Where'd it go? Percy, go lay down, please. You're not helpful today. Okay. So there's just a couple screenshots that are interesting. Fauna had a dog that died, like a golden doodle or a golden lab, not too long before this too. And the bear attack is so stupid. Like, what? But there was some weird stuff. Again, her friends were really trying to control things. I think maybe for John, I don't know about this whole thing. But here's one. It said somebody tagged them in the Help Find Fauna Frey group. And this person said, I'm tagging you in case you want to delete this post since you asked the location not to be shared. So somebody on the group shared this location. And then somebody was like, it's on the news. I guess this is about the car, right? Being found. And then they start arguing, no need to be rude. The family has asked people not to share the location. And then the police want it private while SARS and the dogs were out because they were searching that area where the car was found with SARS, that research or search party people thing. And the dogs are out. But the sheriff's department posted a release. The car was towed for evidence. And then, so people are arguing about that needed to be private. And then this person, Jenny, the friend, sent me a message. And I don't know the date on this. She sent me a message and she said, "Good morning, Kathy. I would like to set up an interview with you to set the record straight. I know you have been getting information from outside resources, and I thought it might be helpful to hear from me, who has been working with John since day one." So this is when she was trying to control what I was putting out there. And I guess this was my reply, because a couple screenshots later, I say, "No, thanks." I said, "I'll pass. Thanks anyway. Hi, Liz Can." And then I told her, now this is interesting because I forgot about this. There was a person that follows Gray really a lot. Her screen name at the time was Land McKinney. Does that sound familiar to anybody? And apparently she told me she was a registered nurse and her husband was like a big time detective or something. Oh, okay, that's your toy. And I said to her, because this person talked my ear off one day, and I said to her, "By the way, that Land McKinney is trouble." I think this is the person she was talking about, that she wanted to set the record straight or something. She said, I said, "I can show you a string of emails from her. She also talked to me on the phone for 2 hours, telling me that she called the Oregon State Police and she said that Sean is a person of interest." Sean, the guy on that call right there. And then she also said there were 2 cases of Foster's, not just 2 cans. And she said they told her that I should be calling them to tell them everything you ever told me because I'm a mandated reporter. And so I blocked her from my channel. So this woman was telling me that Fauna had 2 cases of Foster's, not just 2 Foster's, and that I'm a mandated reporter. So I'm supposed to be calling the law enforcement to tell them everything that Jenny, the friend, had told me. First of all, I'm not that kind of mandated reporter. Like, that's not what I'm mandated to do. But hearsay, that's what? So anyway, that was really weird. She was stirring the pot big time. I wound up blocking her from my channel. And then she said, "Okay, thank you for your information." And then I think that was that. But oh, interesting. I screenshot something about Oregon law recording. In Oregon, is it legal to record telephone conversations with the consent of at least one party, but the recording in-person conversation requires the consent of all parties. So they're a one-party state. California is a two-party state. So if I call somebody in California, or if either person is in California, you have to follow the California law. But if you're in Oregon, as long as if you make the call, you're allowed to record somebody in Oregon without telling them they're being recorded. Okay. La la la. Okay. All right. So that I did timestamp this one spot on the John's interview. So let me see if I can just play it. It's small. It's short because we've been going all day now. I swear this is like a long, freaking ridiculously long live stream today. Let's see. But I'm happy you guys are here because I usually don't do these this long. Okay, let me find the timestamp on this. Sorry, I'm kind of. Oh no, don't. You know what? It's when I open that my thing starts acting weird. Let me see if I can find it. Oh gosh, I just clicked on a weird ad. Hold on. Part 1. Okay, let me find the right spot and then I'll share this. I'm not gonna get copyright strike or anything. Hold on. Pause, pause, pause. Okay. So I'm just gonna show you a little bit. Listen, it's the podcast audio, but there was something that caught my attention. Let me know if we have audio issues, please, everyone. There was just, so this is the one.
In persons cases as they are when it's a clear-cut murder. In the opening season of Here 1 Minute Gone the Next, we'd like to turn your attention to the disappearance of Fauna Frey.
How do I get to
a 45-year-old woman with blonde hair, blue eyes, 5'6" tall, somewhere.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Hold on. This is acting up. Thank you. I really appreciate that. And a bottle of wine for me and a box of dog biscuits. Loyal Lou Percy. Yes. He does join my live streams, but he gets to be a little annoying in the background sometimes. I thank you very much. And give him a treat for behaving for 3, 4, 5 hours today. I appreciate that. Thank you. Okay. Could you hear that at all? That I was playing for a second there? Because I'm going to try to just go on here and go to that one part that I wanted you to hear. Okay. So far, are we okay with audio? I'm going to play it again, but I wanted to get to that one spot. I don't want to play the whole thing.
You're listening to Here 1 Minute Gone the Next, a Newsweek podcast. They say that if you can't find a body, you don't have a crime. Unfortunately, this puts thousands of families across the country in a state of limbo because many times law enforcement is unable to dedicate the same resources to missing persons case. $18,000 in silver coins,
roughly, towed away, towed to the impound when she bought the hair dye. She bought a lantern there too that I think was, when she was younger. A few articles of clothing. There was a pair of shoes. Swear that they saw Fauna drive by in a car, and they reported it right away.
This is important.
We had a sighting from reputable people.
I lost you guys.
That said that they saw Fauna at that address, driving out of there.
Oh, we lost you.
And at the time, from the description, they were only like 5 or 6 feet away from Fauna, who was in a passenger seat.
Okay.
Also, with a guy with dark hair with facial hair was driving. She called us up, I believe.
Who called you up?
We got a call from, and she said that her and her husband were out walking their dog. They lived there. And they swear that they saw Fauna drive by in a car, and they reported it right away. She gave me the address it came from.
This is Fauna's dad.
She saw her from like 5 feet away. These people said that there were some dopers and they were having a lot of problems with this address where this car came out of, this white BMW. I started checking the place out. So months go by and the property where she came from had changed hands twice. So it was sold to these new people. The new people called us and said that the saddlebag was left there with Fauna's name on it. And they knew from flyers about Fauna. So they said, this is weird. And it was on a post of a carport down on the ground with the strap wrapped around the post, the weirdest thing you ever saw. And I was at this place earlier, and the place was a mess with garbage all over the place. And they even had one of those dumpster like that goes on the back of a truck, like a container ship type of dumpster. They had that there. And now the place is all cleaned up, and I go back and they left the bag there. And they said, the new ladies that lived there said they didn't touch the bag when they saw that it had this name on it. But it was so incongruous because what was this bag doing there by itself? There was no other thing around it. There was no extraneous junk. It's not like there was even a basketball floating around or anything, no junk, just this all by itself, this bag around this post.
After the property had been cleaned up.
After the property had been cleaned up with the new owners there. So then we told the cops, so that's another, you want to get back into the cops. It's like, they haven't discovered anything to my knowledge. Every clue, everything that's come up with this, we've provided, whether it's to OSP, Oregon State Police, or if it's Josephine County. There's not one thing, one clue that they've come up with.
What can you tell us about the nature of the dopers that were living at this property?
They were supposedly part of a motorcycle group.
So this property was a rowdy biker gang pad before the people had found this saddlebag.
Yeah, according to the neighbors, yes.
These kind of bigger gangster biker gang type of guys have a lot of lackeys that hang out with them and do their dirty work and run their drugs for them.
Right. There's a periphery. There's this whole peripheral group. There's people coming and going, probably just to buy small amount of drugs. There's probably, some kind of distributors showing up, all kinds of stuff.
The hitchhiker, well, we'll just call her the hitchhiker without using her name.
Yeah.
Was a frequenter of that area as well.
Of the area, yeah. But we don't know if she really had that much of a contact with at all.
Right.
But she must have known about that place. She must have had some little contact.
From what I understand, the people that the hitchhiker hangs out with also hung out at that place trying to score drugs because it was the place to go.
Right. More like that than the hitchhiker directly being with that. I think that they probably saw her as a loser, if you will. She couldn't do anything for him, type of thing. She was definitely in a super low echelon, because if she ever came up with anything, it'd probably only be a few bucks and this and that,
Yeah, I guess we could touch on the state of being of the hitchhiker. She's not exactly a credible witness on anything.
No, not really.
Because we've all tried speaking to her. You've tried. I've tried. I've tried. So she was the last one to see Fauna.
Correct.
Yeah.
That we know about for sure. Because, again, Fauna told me about her when she called me. And that's the last time I heard from Fauna. So I don't know who she was with or what happened after that, except from hearsay.
Let's go back to the saddlebag. Was there anything in it?
There were a couple of cigarette butts in the bottom of it, and maybe some loose tobacco.
Did Fauna smoke?
Yeah.
Were they her brand?
She switched brands.
What did she smoke?
She smoked, I think, American Spirits, and she hardly ever smoked in front of me. Is
there anything else about the saddlebag that's unusual?
She knew that I knew that she smoked, but still she was, whatever. The big thing that comes to my mind is that it seems to be a message. I mean, the way it was in the four corners, it was faced out on an angle on the bottom, attached to this post.
You're talking like a metallic post that you drive into the ground to put up a chain link fence type of post?
This type was to hold up a carport. So it was a little different, and it sat on top of the ground rather than went in.
Okay.
But you couldn't just lift it up. You had to strap this thing, you had to take the strap from the saddlebag and put it around.
So this bag was strapped to this pole and almost displayed.
Yeah.
As if somebody wanted to look at it.
Yeah, with the name, right,
Fauna, right Fauna.
Yeah.
And you guys even checked, and there's no other faunas in the state of Oregon?
Correct.
Now, you'd never seen the saddlebag before, but that doesn't mean it wasn't hers.
Well, I'm not sure. I think I have seen it.
Yeah.
And she, the girls had horses when they were younger, and they bought saddles and they bought saddlebags and they bought, And
the saddlebag was, this bag was cut down the middle. So it was only half of a saddlebag, right? There was only.
Correct.
There was only one side of the saddlebag.
Correct. It was.
Okay, so I'm going to show you something else. But so if you want to hear that, because he does go into the book, that Dean Koontz book, And you guys, if you're readers of Dean Koontz, you would probably be able to put it together. I haven't read this series or whatever, but apparently there's something similar to what they think Fauna could have been doing. So you go back and forth, like hitchhiker, saddlebag, missing car dump, drug people, giving possessions away. Isn't it kind of like all over the map of what could have happened? Really. So I put the link for this podcast, and then there's two. The second episode is actually an interview with the sheriff, and he's got some attitude. He is not happy. He acting like he's got so much hidden that he can't share. But according to John, there's literally everything that's come forward has been not to the sheriff's department. So I don't know. Really weird. Okay. But since we keep talking about this darn hitchhiker, I'm just going to show you her mugshot. This is when she was in jail. And let me stop sharing this. Or let's do it this way. Share this tab instead. Okay. This is her. This is an actual, she was arrested right after. But she is a frequent flyer in Josephine County. So this is her name. And here's her other, can you see this? Let me see. Share this tab instead. Okay. Here's her other arrests. So she's related to a big family. This is their name in that area in Grants Pass. Now, I don't know if she's just like been disowned by them or whatever. And sometimes you think about things like that to go conspiracy theory on us. Like, is the sheriff friends with this family? Is he covering something up? Probably not. But that's kind of like where my brain went when I heard that this was and then when you look at her Facebook, there's 1 million people with this last name on there. And I asked my friend who lives in Grass Pass, and she says, yes, they're very well known in the area. So it's really not a secret. I mean, look, this is her mugshot on shotsearch.net. And her name has been out there before. They're not talking about it on this podcast, but like, here's the arrest in 2021, unlawful possession, methamphetamine. She's definitely disorderly conduct in the second degree, interfere with police officer. Percy! This dog, he's like over me right now. Menacing, disorderly conduct, unlawful possession, interfere with police officer. And then, she's obviously, her brain is just completely fried because the way they're talking about it, like you can't really get information from her. But I know there's like a lot of physiology that goes along with overuse of methamphetamines and stuff that you just, your brain just isn't the same. So your frontal lobe gets all screwed up. Your thought process is bad and everything again. But somehow I think my sharing is messing up my video because that keeps happening. So that's that. If anybody wants to go listen to those podcasts, if anybody finds any extra info, like, let me know, because now that okay, I figured it out. It's when I have the share screen open, it's acting up, and then it keeps acting up. So I think that's it. We should probably end, huh? It's been an all-day live stream here, 12:40 from 10:30. Really, we took a half-hour break. This is a full-time job today. So anybody else have any last-minute things to chat about before we go? I don't know. I don't see anything in the chat. I don't know if the chat's frozen or whatever. But I think we should just end. And if you guys find anything else out, let me know. I will have my ears perked up for this one because this one we started following. Oh, thank you. Here's the article that shows where the Jeep was found. Remote logging road. How could she have Yeah, see, now where that was found is also actually really like somebody ditched the car kind of thing. And there's no coins. And I don't know. I feel like somebody took those. My gut feeling, which could be completely wrong, is somebody that she ran into when she was dealing with Miss Hitchhiker found those coins or realized she had those coins and they took them and then they did something to her on purpose or accidentally fighting her back. I don't know. But I honestly don't think she's a gone girl. I don't think she ditched her own life. I really don't. She was calling her dad too much time, when she left there, even though she said she was mad at him and stuff. She was checking in with him. I'm going, okay, I'm going to call you when I get to the next hotel. Okay, I'm here. It seems like she would have just gone girl from her dad and not contacted the minute she left. I don't know. We can keep talking about it because this one, I don't know why this case has just got me. It has. As bad as I was with the Daybell case, this case got me. Thank you, Lori. They dumped her, took the car, and ditched it. That's what I think. That's, you know what I mean? Isn't that the most, I think you're dealing with people, drugs. She had a big sum of money. They could go to California and start pawning these different, these coins along the way, or Nevada, there's places not too far. Nobody would even know the difference. They're not marked. Nobody even talked about the freaking coins for months. Like, we weren't even allowed to talk about the coins, which clearly was a big detail that if some pawn shop heard that this lady had these coins and they were all of a sudden had gotten this big load of coins or coin shop or something, right? So anyway, my thing's all acting up ever since I shared my screen again. I'm gonna figure out that there's an update. My Mac has an update that has to run, so it might have something to do with that. And all right, I'll see you guys in Discord. Come on in and we can talk about this. I'll make a Fauna page because we have her under the missing, but we should make a Fauna page in there. So, because I have a feeling now that this podcast is going and something, the story is going to get some more, And she was in a super vulnerable state, not thinking straight, leaving without clothes, laptop, phone. Yep. Yeah. Right. There's a lot. All right. Thank you guys. Have a great weekend and stay safe and stay well and all that stuff. And I will see you soon.